Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. So welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love. And today I'm honored and excited to share a sacred conversation with Dr. Ellen, and I welcome you within this sacred space.
Thank you, Kim. I'm happy to be here.
It's really great to share a beautiful conversation, and maybe we can spark already, like you just launched an amazing book, depending on when you're watching this episode, of course. We're now in March 2025. But you just launched a beautiful book, and I think your message is so aligned with what I'm here for, to really stand in your light and in your truth and to feel empowered from within to create a life. So maybe you can already share the cover. People can find it on Amazon to also celebrate you
I
from
can.
surviving to radically thriving. Yes. 5 steps
Yes,
to unleash. Yeah.
5 steps to unleash unstoppable you.
Yes.
And
I
if you
really
look
love
up Ellen Mosti in Amazon, it will pop up. And it is available as an ebook for $1.99 if you're seeing it this week.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will be $5.99 in the paperback. It's $14.99.
Amazing. I have my ebook cover, or my ebook version. I love how you've added different elements into the book and really help. Like, it's practical, but it's also supportive and inspirational. So I think it's really, really beautiful. But I'm always curious, like, what activated you to become on this path, or to at the end write this book? Most of the time there's something within our lives that activated us, or yes.
Yes. So as I do say in the book, it's been a lifelong journey, and it has taken me decades to realize that a lot of the decisions that I made in childhood, we make some really seemingly crazy decisions looking back on them, like because my mother was not married when she got pregnant with me. There's this sense of not being wanted or being rejected and abandoned. And, it's a story that I carried around like baggage or a backpack for years. And the problem with those decisions is if we allow them to be in a backpack on our backs, they just keep getting heavier and heavier as the years go on. And that's where our exhaustion and our overwhelm and at least for me, my desire to please other people, because I wanted to be wanted and liked and accepted and loved. And, so much of my life I spent doing things that I didn't want to do, that didn't light me up, that drained me and just added to the exhaustion. And what I finally came to realize is that I can let all of that go, and I can create another story. I can create a story that is empowering. I can make new decisions because I'm not an infant. I am not a toddler. I am an adult. And as an adult, I can choose to shine. I can choose to have purple hair and have fun and be spontaneous and playful and light, and to love myself. And that is the real impetus behind this book, is my own journey to finding my own self-love and self-care, to learn to take care of myself and not depend on or expect that somebody else out there was going to do all of that for me. That it is up to me to create what I want in my life and that health and the vitality that I want. And I really believe that each and every one of us, regardless of the situations that we were born into or survived
Mhm.
in our life, whether it's, you know, childhood trauma, whether it's, and women, I don't know the statistic off the top of my head, but there's a large percentage of women who have been raped, divorced, death of loved ones, spouses. There's just so many things that happen in our lives that don't bring us joy, and that can bring us down and can keep us in that survival mode. And we can, with some conscious effort, taking good care of ourselves, learning to love ourselves, to find joy in the moment and to find gratitude for not only the opportunities, but also the challenges,
Yeah.
and then move forward.
I love that you shared so many powerful wisdom in this beautiful share. And I want to go back to the beginning because it starts with the awareness that things that happened when we were very young create a foundation for patterns that we have as an adult. And it doesn't, what I love in your story, and it's really coming back to how resilient we are and that we can make the changes that we desire in this now moment by becoming aware. It doesn't mean that the stories we've lived through, the traumas, the experiences, the whatever has happened, it doesn't mean that that needs to be the foundation of your future. And I noticed in my own journey as well, starting to love ourselves is truly the greatest gift, but also the greatest opening to rewriting our energy field, our subconscious beliefs, all of that. So I think yeah, I think because sometimes we can be so, okay, this has happened and I'm damaged for life, or this is will be forever my pattern. But we have so much power within us to make the changes, to yeah. So I think that's really, really beautiful to step into that space.
Thank you. And I love the word resilience.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's necessarily a theme in the book, but it is a great word for,
Yeah.
that bouncing back.
Yeah. I
For
think
bounce.
that's important because life, like as we go, also as we grow and evolve and we're becoming aware, still we get challenged because we're being invited to step out of our comfort zone. Maybe the challenge is less than when we were young, but in a way we're being challenged. Just like someone is breaking a world record, they're also being challenged. They want to be challenged, and that's growth. That's part of but it is our resilience. Like, okay, I'm being challenged, but I'm saying yes because I know that I can handle it. And in that we get to move, and we, instead of resisting the change, or instead of resisting our wounded aspects, or the parts that we feel shame of, or all of that. And that's why I love as well you're so focused also on self-love, because it's not out there. It's not in, okay, someone else needs to change or something else needs to fix or everything needs to align and then I will be happy, or when this happens. No, it starts within ourselves and within our within our
Okay.
being. Yeah. So what has really helped you to, and I know this has been a process of many, many years, but like what has really helped you in becoming aware, and in, because most of the time when we're living, sometimes we have these blind spot, we have these blinders on, and we don't even know that, like the people pleasing, or I remember that pattern as well when I was younger. But it starts with the awareness, like, okay, I see that I'm going over my boundary and not respecting myself and all of that. But what has really helped you to shift that, or to make the, yeah.
I think the first awareness came in my 30s when I was working at a job at a hospital where I, had to be there at 8 in the morning, and,
Yeah.
the alarm went off at 6. And there were days that my body actually felt like lead. Like it really took effort to physically get my body out of bed. And, you know, and in my 30s, I guess I thought I should have a lot more energy and shouldn't be dreading getting out of bed in the morning. So that was that's when I really started my spiritual journey. When I finally started to wake up and say, there's got to be more to life than dragging myself out of bed in the morning and falling into bed at night exhausted. And,
Mhm.
but then putting on a show
Yeah.
for everyone during the day. Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. I'm high energy. I'm doing all this, I'm doing everything. And, it really felt like treading water.
Yes, I get.
Um, So that was my first wake up call.
Mhm.
Um, that really started on my path. And then it just, grew from there.
Yeah.
Started reading, listening to, books on tape, anything that I could get my hands on that would help me grow and to find, um, I guess what I felt like I was looking for. And so there was a lot of years of looking outside of myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really wasn't until probably the last 5 to 10 years that I really started looking within for the answers and
Mhm.
really starting to trust my own intuition and my own inner guidance and wisdom. Um, and
But
then that's where I think the power for me and where the thriving really came, and the ability to step out of the old stories and to create new ones.
I love that. Yeah. But sometimes, because I noticed that as well in my own journey, sometimes like it's more easy first to go out there to like it's the we go through certain phases, but also certain like you hit a certain point where you feel okay, I'm so done with this pattern, and now I'm ready. But it's in that moment that things open up, that beautiful books come on our path, or in because sometimes there's still something we need to learn, or it is not heavy enough still, and sometimes we stay in the pattern. But I love as you share because I noticed that in my own journey, sometimes it's first moving out and really stretching our consciousness, like okay, there's so much more, and then the journey begins within. But sometimes the step between okay, I feel that this is not my path, and immediately going within is sometimes too much. It's first like okay, there's so much more in the world, and that is cracking open the old illusions and the patterns we are in and the identities we have as okay, I am a doctor, or I am this and I am this, and because we're all being invited in a way to break that open. But then who are we then if we're no longer, for me then, if I'm no longer a wife or an entrepreneur or a mom or a daughter, or if I let go of that, like who am I truly and what do I truly want? But that is like already 10 steps further, because first is breaking free from okay, this is what you need to be when you're growing up. We have all these fixed or society has all these fixed ideas that we are being programmed, like
Yeah, you're right. And we are programmed from a really young age
yeah
with family, with church, with schooling, with peers, and wanting to fit in with our tribe and
yeah
the people that we're around. And you're right. It's a process
it's the
to
and it's honoring
to
that with love. Yeah.
right. And it's not making it bad or wrong. It's
Yes.
just it was. And and maybe some of those things still serve you today and you can keep them. Certainly the love of family and support is beautiful. And sometimes, it is stepping out on your own and saying, you know, this is where I really need to be right now.
Yeah. Time for something new. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. And it's also honoring because I notice in my own journey, my most challenging moments, when I was in the moment, it feels like you're drowning and everything is so heavy. But now looking back years later, I see how those moments truly have been my greatest gift, because they awakened me to a deeper desire, or they showed me like, okay, this is not what I'm going to do, or like there was this awakening happening in each of these moments. And it's really honoring our path. Like if you're tuning into this, like you're being guided to this for a reason, but it's not like it's really honoring what you've done before. It is in the awareness of now that we get to make changes for the future. I always love to say like you plant seeds of love, but you do it in the now moment. So don't blame the future or shame or be angry, or and don't only look to the future. It's now that we need to be present. And yeah,
Yeah.
and I love, because I love what you brought as well, your body. Sometimes we take our body for granted, but it shares so much. Like you shared, like me being so tired and all of that. It's a signal that something is out of alignment, because otherwise, and it's again not to blame our body or to say, okay, I need to push harder, or I need to go to the gym and I need to. Of course, those things are healthy, but there's a, for me as well, at least there is a greater message behind the discomfort, behind the illness, behind yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. I think all of that is a messenger. And if you can step back with curiosity and presence, as you so accurately stated, we can look for the gift or for the learning
Mhm.
in what seemingly would be, an
Yeah.
not ideal situation. But it is a message, just like my exhaustion was a message that my body needed something other than what I was giving it.
Yeah.
Whether it needed better food or not 5 cups of coffee a day. so that, it was hard to fall asleep at night or sleep well. And then, at 6 o'clock in the morning, finally the caffeine's worn off from the day before. And I was,
Yes.
then I'm finally like, my body's finally getting to rest and go to sleep, and I'm forcing it to get up again. And then, it's the same cycle. Then it's caffeine all day because we didn't get enough rest at night. And, it's how do you step out of those patterns and cycles that we just habitually fall into, and a lot of times don't even think about, or
No.
everybody in our culture, everybody around us is doing the same thing, so you just don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I love you bringing the for curiosity or openness, or just question why. You don't have to do that the whole day, but just question, why am I doing this, or why, like, even just general. Yeah, we do a lot of things on autopilot because, again, and that's okay, because it's great when we're riding the car or need to bicycle or whatever we're doing. But sometimes we can also question, like, okay, is this really aligned, or why am I saying this, or why am I doing this, or already the questioning. It doesn't mean you have to change your whole life in one day. It starts with the
No.
awareness, and then you can tune in, like, okay, is this for me or not? Or I always love to tune into my body and feel like, okay, because you feel it. When something is aligned, you feel flow. Or when something is out of alignment, you feel a contraction, or there is this icky feeling that you feel, for me at least in my body, that I feel.
Yeah.
Starting to listen to that and honor that. And yeah, but that is sometimes the most difficult thing, because then we need to go in. So I'm curious, like, what has helped you to go within, to make that, you've read a lot of amazing books, but what has really helped you to then make the step to, yeah.
To tune in with
Yes.
myself.
Yeah.
um so for the last, let's see, March of 2021, so 4 years now, I have tuned into a morning monologue and meditation with Panache Desai. He has been, at first during the pandemic, he was doing it 7 days a week, and he has cut back to 5 days a week.
Yes.
So that was, I, 45 minutes to an hour every day that I would just tune in and listen to his message, which is, we are love and light,
Mm.
that's who we really are at the core of who we are.
Yeah.
And anything else is just the illusion.
Yeah.
And that's been his message. And so that's part of it, is just taking time out every day to unplug and just tune in with
Mhm.
my own body. Um, I also am trained in something called kinesiology or muscle testing. So a lot of times, if I'm torn between two decisions or wondering if something is truly supportive for me or not, like, is another cup of coffee supportive?
Mhm.
So I do a couple different ways, but you can just do two, like, okay signs with your fingers and just say, is this supportive? And no is a breaking of the circle, and a yes is a strong circle.
Yeah.
So you test that first. And like, I'm Ellen and it's strong. And then, is coffee supportive? And it's not. And that it's a clear yes or no answer. um, so that's one way, especially early on.
Mhm.
Like I said, as I learned to trust my own intuition and my own inner guidance, there's other voices in our heads too. There's inner child that didn't maybe get all our needs met when we were little. There's the inner critic that's constantly judging and criticizing how we could be better, or the ego of, you know, how can we show up better in the world, or like I said, when I was working, that,
Mhm.
that facade I put on every morning of, oh, I'm okay, I can handle anything and everything, throw it all at me, let me do it. Again, that's that ego saying, oh, she doesn't need rest, she just needs to prove herself more.
Yeah.
So, you know and sometimes it is really hard to figure out which voice is speaking, and so for me, the muscle testing really helped to tune into that intuition and inner
I love that.
guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful tool to, yeah, to in a way expand your intuition. And because again, I love about, like, muscle testing, but there are many many different ways. But it also helps the mind to understand, no, like, there's a more physical, tangible confirmation than only listening to, okay, what is our inner guidance. It comes in many forms. For me, it's my body that tells me, like, okay, I get this sensation, but there are many ways. So I love that, and it's so
Yeah,
important. As a child, we naturally do that. We feel like, okay, this person I like and this person I don't. but somehow we're being, okay, no, you need to do this, or you need, and we get lost in a way. And now it's relearning the language of our intuition or our body, or yeah, it's starting to get to know ourselves again, or yeah. And also as we evolve, because we go through this whole evolution, and we go through these different phases and these different connections and all of that. And in through that, we also we grow and we become different. Like who I was 10 years ago is totally different, and that's beautiful. But it's also, again, sometimes taking the moment to, okay, who is Kim in this now moment? What does my soul want to share in this now moment as it also evolves? And so I think that's beautiful, the curiosity and the connection. And yeah. So if people want to work with you, how can they connect with you besides your beautiful book on all the Amazons worldwide?
All the Amazons.
Yes.
So through my website, www.lightnessoneall.com.
And I will also share your bio and your links below this video, or what audio, whatever way you're tuning in. So yes, amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah. So if there was one last thing you would like to share as a tip or an advice with everyone tuning in, what would it be?
That each and every one of you is a gift from God, creator, source, universe. And I just really hope that each and everyone that listens to this podcast can embrace their own soul, that love within them, like your soul love books, and shine that light out into the world. The logo for my business is a lighthouse, and that is what I'm trying to do, is shine my light into the world. And if I can shine the light and light a way for somebody else and make their path just a little bit easier, that's what I hope to do.
Amazing. I get goosebumps. So beautiful. It's such a
Thank
beautiful message.
you.
Yes. So I want to thank you for sharing your light and your wisdom, and yeah, for stepping up in the space of sharing your uniqueness to inspire others. And I want to thank everyone tuning in for being here. Please let us know what sparked for you in this conversation, and follow, like, subscribe, whatever way aligns with you. But it really helps to spread these empowering conversations. So I think we're already on episode 88. So there are many to look back and to discover, many gems. So for now, just sending you much love and looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. So bye for now. Bye.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.